Hey there, my name is Michael Kwan and welcome to NFTs Unlocked. This is the first video in this channel and I'm so excited to share with you the power of NFTs. Now before we get started, I'm really excited to bring you a lot of this content, so do me a quick favor, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. With that said, this is also not financial advice, so you got to make sure to do your own research. This purpose of this videos is to really help educate and entertain you as well. I'm going to share a lot of different strategies and mistakes that I've made along the way. With that said, I did want to share with you my own NFT journey, which started roughly a year ago. Now what happened was I have a cousin that we're really close to, and he was having a conversation with me back in April of last year. And he was like, you know what, you really got to get on this app called VeVe because there's a lot of things going on here. There's a lot of new collectibles that are coming out and there's a lot of demand and it's really hard to lose. I'm like, well, what do you mean it's hard to lose? He's like, well, if you're able to get one of these NFTs, these digital collectibles, then you can go on to their marketplace and then you can flip it and sell it for a profit. I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting. I'm like, how do you get started? So he's like, well, go ahead and download the app and you can basically fund your account with these things called gems. So you take $1 and you can transfer it into one gem. And so you can do this through, Android or Apple. In my case, I was using Apple Pay. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to lose too much money. This is just going to be for fun, for entertainment. So I'll go ahead and throw in $200. So I got 200 gems and I started my VeVe journey. And with VeVe, it was a very kind of clunky app back then. And so a lot of things didn't work. Whenever they had the drops or the release of the NFTs, things would break. There would be timeouts, errors, and all this, different stuff that happened. And so I was very actually unsuccessful in the beginning, and I didn't get anything the first couple or few drops. And I was going to my cousin saying, hey, this thing doesn't work. Should I even stick with this? And he's like, well, let me help you. He's like, there's some specific things that you need to do in order to kind of optimize the app, optimize your time, click on buttons in a specific sequence and order. And once I started to understand what the syntax was, then I was able to get, I guess, what you could call an edge, right? I was able to position myself in a place where I could actually click potentially faster than other people and then have a better chance. So I finally got my first NFT ever. I was clicking on it and I finally got this Tokidoki secret rare Dragon Girl. Now, this NFT was something that I didn't really understand or even know what it was, other than that I knew it was in a secret rare category. And the way that VeVe does it is they come out with these different categories of common, uncommon, rare, ultra rare, and secret rare. And so depending on what there is in terms of like the category, the common, there's going to be the most quantity in that, and secret rare is going to have the fewest quantity. So in this case, there was only 888 units in this Tokidoki secret rare drop. So I was very lucky in that I picked this up. And so immediately, maybe like 3 or 4 hours later, the marketplace comes back to life and you're able to start selling it. So immediately I sold this Tokidoki NFT that I had paid 99 gems for, and I was able to flip it for 1,400. So immediately that was like a 14x, and I was just like, oh, this is kind of fun. And so I was asking my cousin, I'm like, well, what do I do now? He's like, well, you can go in and buy other things or wait for other drops and start buying other things. And so that's exactly what I did. I started using that money and those gems to basically buy other drops. And I didn't get every drop, but I got a lot of them because I started to figure out, the best way that I could get in there and really have a better chance. So, maybe I was getting like 1 out of 3, sometimes 1 out of 2. And so I picked up some nice NFTs along the way. And what happened was over the next couple of months, Marvel announced that they were going to be dropping their first NFT ever, and they were going to do it in the VeVe platform. So I got super excited. Most people on the VeVe app at the time got super excited. And we realized that, this is really historic. This is going to be the first NFT ever, and it's going to be from Marvel. And so what they released was Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man first appearance. And so with this one, they had literally all 5 categories. They had the common, the uncommon, the rare, the ultra rare, and the secret rare. And back then you could actually target which specific one you wanted to go after. So I was like, I'm going after that secret rare. And there was only 1,000 of these ever made. But I was like, what, if I land this, then I think this is going to be, pretty good and I can hold on to this thing. The only thing was that at the time, it was the most expensive NFT on the platform ever. And so it was 400 gems. So I was like, well, I'm already playing with house money, right? Because I had profits from the other one. So let me go ahead and go after this. And lo and behold, I put myself into the right position. I waited. I was watching the atomic clock to make sure that I knew exactly when to press go and hit buy. And I snagged it. And I was very lucky. My cousin, I actually ended up getting the ultra rare one, but he didn't get the secret rare one at the time. And so between the two of us, we had the top, two categories, but I actually snagged that and I was just super excited. So I, held on to that one, and immediately this thing went up from 400 gems, from the sales price, and it was immediately about $3,000 worth of gems. And so I was like, wow, $400 to 3,000 is a pretty great return. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should buy another one because, this has some historic significance. Now, I never did act on that idea. In hindsight, I wish I did. I wish I bought like 10 of these, right? But at the time, I was like, you know what? I'm just playing with house money. I want to see how far I can take this. And, I just left it in my wallet. And so what happened was I continued to buy other types of NFTs. I actually ended up the same day buying the Spider-Man Uncommon in that series as well. So I actually got 2 that day. But what happened was over time, I realized that, potentially it would make sense to have the entire set, the common, the uncommon, the rare, and the ultra rare, the one that my cousin had, as well as the secret rare. So I was like, you know what, let me see if I can start buying these up over time. And so that's exactly what I did. I started to buy some of the uncommons and the common. And then most recently, I had a hole because I didn't have the ultra rare. And more recently, it's been about $2,500. And so I was like, ugh, this is kind of a lot of money. I didn't want to put that much money into the app because I was obviously already playing with profits. But I was thinking, I was like, you know what? This is a very historic overall set and series. So I'm going to just bite the bullet. So literally last month, I finally put in $2,600 worth of gems into the app. And I bought this ultra rare Spider-Man first appearance. And lo and behold, I bought this thing. I was actually on vacation when this happened, and I didn't think much of it. But the next day, I go in and I see that the floor price is now raised to $5,000. So I'm like, wow, that was really fast to get a 2x. And then I came back home the next week, and it went up all the way to 10,000. So this thing is really just taking off. But here's the crazy part. Just last week, that secret rare Spider-Man that I bought for 400 gems, remember how I told you went to 3,000? The next set, I think over the next month, was about 10,000. Then I got to 13,000. Then it got to 20,000. And for the longest time, it was hovering around $30,000. And I was just like, wow, this is incredible. But all of a sudden, in the last couple of weeks, there was a huge push up in the markets. And it just went from 30 to 50 to 60. And last week, this NFT, this first edition or first appearance Spider-Man secret rare went for $100,000. Now it subsequently has come down from the floor price, and now it's about 88,000 or so. But it just shows you how powerful and how quickly these things can appreciate. And I will tell you this. I mean, part of this is luck, right? Being at the right place at the right time. But part of this was intentional, right? I could have sold it off at any point, and I actually was tempted at certain points to maybe potentially let it go. But I realized what the historic significance was of this NFT. And I will tell you that there's even till this day opportunities to go in and buy first appearance NFTs on the VeVe platform that are going to create incredible profits into the future. And I'm talking about 5-10 years from now. We're going to look back at this time right now, even after all this appreciation with the Spider-Man. It's going to be insane. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, I could have picked up these first appearance Marvel minis, these Marvel Mighties, or I think is what they're called. All these other first appearance types of NFTs on the VeVe platform for basically pennies on the dollar. So again, I want to share with you some of the strategies that I'm doing now to buy multiples of certain projects, multiples of certain collections, and really starting to take a foothold so that I can use this as a basis to then sell off once the time comes to collect my cost basis back out. Because at the end of the day, I really want you to learn how to profit in the process. So, it's good to obviously put a little capital in, but at the end of the day, I want you to take some of that capital out, reclaim your cost basis, because if you're able to do that, then the rest of that is gravy. So again, I'm super excited about the VeVe platform. I think there's a ton of upside still left in here. We're actually in the process of moving over to the Ethereum network. Their OMI token, which is what this whole thing is built upon, is moving from the Go chain over to the Ethereum platform. And so it's going to be a token on that platform very soon here on in. And when that happens, there's going to be a lot more people coming into the space with a lot more money on the Ethereum platform. So once that happens, I believe we're going to see another pop. Now, we'll have to see in the short term, what's happening in the economy. Maybe we're going to have some short-term corrections, but long-term, I'm pretty darn certain that this thing is going to be going parabolic. And so again, this channel is really to help you to understand what's happening, share with you, strategies that I'm doing, actions that I'm taking, mistakes that I'm making, and then ultimately collaborating. I want to know what you guys are doing as well so that we can all learn together. All right. So with that said, this is, something that's really passionate, because I want you to not only use NFTs as a way to, create profits, but as a way to start building an asset base that you can ultimately turn to cash flow. Because one thing that you may not actually know about me is I'm a financial freedom coach. My whole purpose and passion is to help people to reach financial independence. And right now there's an asymmetric risk to reward in NFTs, meaning that you have to put up just a little bit of money in order to create some really great returns. Now, can you lose money in NFTs? Absolutely. And there's a whole nother section of NFTs that we didn't even talk about yet that live on the Ethereum platform. And this one is a little bit more complex, and we'll probably dig into this as well on the channel, understanding how to set up a MetaMask, how to integrate it with Web3 applications and websites, how to write to contracts. And that whole kind of ecosystem is evolving as well, but there's also some great profits in there as well. Again, remember my cousin that was telling me about NFTs? I mean, he's done incredibly well on that side of things as well as VeVe. So, you kind of have to pick and choose where you want to specialize, and then really kind of go down that rabbit hole and become an expert in that area so that you can find that edge and you can be educated about a specific area and then ultimately find those profits. So with that said, my name is Michael Kwan. I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you for taking the time to come check out the channel. And if you have any questions, if you have any content that you're looking for me to create, go ahead and let me know down in the comments. Please go ahead and like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to creating a lot more content.